Healing Fridays. Where'd the week go? Kind of flew by, in my opinion. Okay, so grab your chakra healing notebook and journal with me. Throat chakra. Kind of easy to find in a sense, right? Right in the area of this throat. And remember that the chakra, it's not like a pinpoint. It's not like we have to search for this one specific exact spot when we're trying to clear it, right? Or scan it. It expands out away from us. So there's all kinds of, well, maybe not that far, but there's all kinds of space here, right? We'll find it. The energy knows where to go. So the throat chakra, in a sense, is that mediator between our thoughts and emotions. So I don't know about you, but I know sometimes my emotions can really feel chaotic and kind of anxious and fast, and or depressed and heavy, and depending on how I then express those emotions. So before it comes out of my mouth, right, it's coming from the lower chakras. Emotions are more in the sacral, right? But it picks up from the root and picks up some steam in the solar plexus and works its way up through the heart, right? And then it may or may not get filtered through the throat chakra before it comes out of my mouth, right? Sometimes we joke about there was a day I didn't have a filter or a doorstop. Not have an ability to be quiet. Just whatever was coming up, it was spewing out. If it came up, it spewed out. If it came up, it spewed out. That's just how it went. Now it's interesting that I feel more connected, if you will, with my highest self when messages come in. It comes down in and out, right? I don't feel that I need that filter. We just kind of flow with it and it goes. And that's amazing. I love that. Channeling those messages. So anyways, communication. So there are basically three communication styles. Assertive, which is ideally how we would want to communicate. Passive and aggressive. Could be verbally, can also be in our actions that we take, right? So if I'm passively doing little things to kind of maybe make a point to someone, Facebook comes to mind. Sometimes we share memes or things, whatever, on Facebook just because we read it and we're like, oh yeah, that's funny, or oh, I could relate to that at some point in my life, right? Or there's those times where it's in the moment and you're like, oh, I've been wanting to say something, but I've been holding back, and I'm trying to avoid that conflict. Oh, look, here's a meme that'll say it. I'm just gonna post that. I won't put any name on it, right? I'm just gonna post it. That's pretty passive. And then, of course, aggressive. We could be yelling. We could be grating through our teeth. We could be saying some really nasty, mean things. We could be physically aggressive. Mm-hmm. And listening is also huge in communication. Active listening, right? We talked about that before. Where we're actually listening to hear what people are saying. We're actually paying attention to gain more of an understanding or more knowledge about what someone's thinking or feeling. We don't have to agree with it, but we're just hearing others out, right? Or what blocks us is when we shut it down. We tune it out, or we listen to react. And listen for those key words. Like, I'm just waiting for you to say the right thing. There it is. Now I'm off. Right now I'm pouncing back at you. All of these are different parts of our communication styles. So again, assertive helps us keep the throat chakra clear. Passive or aggressive creates those blocks in the throat chakra. Some psychological symptoms that we might feel when our throat chakra is not balanced is it feeling misunderstood having social anxiety, having that kind of that fear of being seen or heard. Sometimes it's like we want to be heard. Like, I feel like nobody listens to me, and or I want to speak my truth, but I'm kind of afraid to be heard. Or we're just used to. Maybe it's that old story, those old beliefs of what we kind of grew up with, right? You only speak when spoken to, or you just do as you're told and you don't get a voice. You might get in trouble if you speak out. All those things might affect that ability to keep that energy clear, right? And then we get that fear too, fear of like judgment and rejection and criticism and all those things. And then some physical symptoms. I always think of ears, nose, and throat. We see doctors for ears, nose, and throat, right? Because there's that connection between. Consider that as well when you're thinking of the throat chakra. Ears physically as well as listening, right? Nose, I'm not thinking of how I communicate right now with my nose. I'm going to have to think about that one. But it is connected with the throat and the ears. Kind of some of the sinuses. The sinuses is like more like third eye, brow chakra. All connected though, right? One leads to another. Ears, nose, throat, yeah. Vocal cords, speaking out, your mouth, your jaw, so your teeth can be affected by the energy in your throat chakra. Also, like neck pain, when you get a stiff neck, or I always say I hold tension, like right in here between my neck and into my shoulders. Has a lot to do with the throat chakra. Because usually it's because I'm gritting my teeth, trying to keep my mouth shut because my ego wants to speak, and I know my ego is going to get me in trouble, and it's probably going to come out aggressive, and it's not going to be very assertive, and it's going to be the asshole part of me, right? So I'm like, oh, don't do it. And then everything like through here just tenses up and creates those blocks or imbalances. Can get overactive as well, right? So then to reflect and move through the theme of the week, which is that grief and sacrifice. So how do we express that? When we feel a sense of loss, when we're feeling grief, how do we express it, or do we express it? Are we gritting our, clenching our jaw and not speaking on it? Are we holding it in? Do you guys ever get to where like you feel this emotion coming up and you swallow it, and it's almost like swallowing a ball of something, right? And it is, in a sense, it's a ball of energy, and you can feel it. You could like feel it in your throat. People make the comment, it's a hard pill to swallow. It's like it's a ball of energy, of emotion that you're just stuffing down, creating that block. It's going to sit there if we don't express it. We can express it in ways that aren't, aggressive. We don't have to spew everything out, but we don't want to just ball it up either. We don't want to stuff it. We want to release it, transmute it, transform it, whatever words you choose to use. So grief for me is not usually something I speak on. That is one of those emotions that I will keep some to myself, depending on what it is or how deep it is, or I'll just surface speak on it. Loss for me, of course, it depends on what it is too, right? Used to be, in addition to loss, I had massive other things attached along with that. So loss would like take me out, so to speak. It just, the worst ever. Did not deal with loss as well. Loss of anything. Just didn't deal with it very well. Didn't handle it very well. Again, the emotions were just so freaking intense. And then my thoughts around it, I'm sure, right? I would feed it even more. It's like it was bad enough as it was, but I would make it even worse in the way that I thought about it and the words that I chose to use to think about it. So gratefully, over time and healing and so forth, again, not saying that loss is easy now, but my perspective has changed, which has made it easier than what it used to be. That makes any sense. Again, not easy, doesn't feel good still, it still hurts really intensely, but I'm able to manage it better than what I had in the past. But I still typically don't talk a lot about it. I express it, but I express it more when I'm by myself, right? But it's still expressing it, so it's a release. And to think about the sacrifice, how do we express that? So again, if it's feeling like a sacrifice, and that's lower vibrational stuff, right? It's more of our humanness. Oh, excuse me. So how do we speak on that? I did this for you. I put myself out. You owe me because I sacrificed for you, right? Or I have an expectation now because I sacrificed. So since I sacrificed, now I expect you to A, B, or C. Or clam up, clench my jaw, be quiet, clam up, and just think it. Maybe I'm not speaking it, but I'm thinking it. And then I might show it and express it in my body language, which is still a form of expression. Or do we transmute that so it doesn't feel like sacrifice? Do we look at the reasons, why did we do it to begin with? Because we have a choice, right? We have choices. They're not always great choices. We don't always feel fabulous about the choice or the options that we have to choose from, but we always have choices. So sometimes picking it apart, for me, anyways, because I like to overthink, to pick it apart helps me, reminds me of my whys. So again, picking on mom because that's my real life, real time situation, right? When, I just got like this big rush of energy in my head. Sorry, I don't know if you could see me like move my head around there, but I physically could feel that. Real life, real time situation with mom, if I'm focusing on using words of sacrifice, of feeling like I'm giving up something to run to the hospital every day, giving up something to be some awareness is just coming to the forefront for me. I was going to say sponge for her as she tries to express her frustrations. But here's the awareness, is sponge is what I've been to. I need to stop that. I've been feeling it. So granted, mom has her frustrations. She has every right to. She's got to be tired of being in the hospital, right? Even though I go every day, at least I get to leave every day too. She's stuck. She ain't going anywhere yet, right? Oh, she's got to be tired of it. And then the process, being kind of pushed in a way to pushing yourself to do more. You've been stuck in a bed for 6 weeks. Now it's time to get up, and there's fear in there. Am I strong enough? Because it's kind of weak. The how-to, feeling so weak, right? Like just all these little steps, and then having that frustration, and then she's like, and I'm the one there, so I get to you feel me? But I don't. And that's what I have not been mindful on. Um, I've been a sponge, and I don't need to be a sponge. I can hold the space, or just share that space for her, but I don't have to take it on. I do not, right? So hear me, because I know whoever is listening in this moment, you're experiencing something in your life similar as well. We do not have to take that, the words, the emotions, all of that from someone else and hold it, and yeah, we don't have to take it all on. We are not a sponge for that. So I'm thinking of almost like if we had a plate. So I can hold the plate, right? Hold the space away from my energy to a degree, and allow it to sit on that plate. I don't have to consume it, right? I don't have to absorb it all. I can just allow it to be there, and I can help transmute that. So all that frustration or sadness and fear and whatever that may be, I can send it because it's not mine anyway. It's not mine. So I can send it unconditional love and help transmute that energy, right? I love when we get on here, wherever that may be for the rest of you, but in those moments when we're sharing, it could be with a friend, right? Just having a conversation with a friend, or when we think we're giving advice and we hear it, and we're like, oh yeah, that's for me, right? I'm speaking for me. I'm speaking to me for me, even though I was illusioned for a moment and thought I was trying to talk to you, right? It's funny. Not that it's not helpful for both, it is, because we're all connected anyway. Okay, so I think that's it. I hope that made sense with the there's a garbage can there. Yeah, no, you can't see it, but I was actually throwing something away behind me. Probably looked like I was throwing it on the floor. Anyway, grief and sacrifice, throat chakra. It's a big one, isn't it? How we process it, how we perceive it, how we think about it, how we feel about it, how we express it. Do we add to the feelings of grief? Do we add to the feeling of the sacrifice itself? Or do we find do we think about again, because I think I was touching on this, pick it apart and think again about the reasons why you chose what you chose anyway, and then have some gratitude in that. Because again, of course I'm going to the hospital to see my mom. Of course I am. I wouldn't have that any other way. Of course I'm going to be there and be a support for mom in her healing journey. Of course I am. I'm grateful I can be. And when we stay in the energy of gratitude, right, that's not a sacrifice. And I don't feel lost in that. I feel unconditional love in that. So that's an amazing way to counteract, right? To catch ourselves and flip it. We get a choice to flip it too. When we have that awareness, become aware, we assess the situation and then get in alignment with it. I'm not in alignment with the thoughts of sacrifice. I'm in alignment with the gratitude. So just to touch on the solar, getting tired. Polar opposite of the throat chakra is the solar plexus. So how confident do I feel in the choices I make? Am I beating myself up for sacrifices that I make? Am I beating myself up for losses that I feel? Do I feel guilty? Do I feel, blame or shame? Whatever that may be, if it's not transmuted, if it doesn't pick up any unconditional love on the way up, right? How will I then express it? So I hope that resonates. I hope it makes sense. Don't forget to check the description for any offers and updates and freebies. And if you find a value in this video, please give it a like and share. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I will see you tomorrow Saturday, for the third eye chakra healing. So much love to you. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or whatever time in the world it is for you. Bye, guys.